sometimes my dreams seem so real that I don't even know I'm dreaming. And then sometimes I'm riding in the car or just lost in thought, and I'm not aware of what's going on around me. And then when I meditate, I could be awake and aware, or perhaps in a world of no thought, and a world of fuzzy clarity like an empty dream. Has that ever happened to you? My whole life has been a search for meaning. I realize that the important issues in my mind are often questions, and sometimes fantasies could be my answer. But for humanists, all that is human is worthy to be answered. And it's worthy to be inspected. Even our dreams or thoughts about God. Does that make sense?
Wake up, Rachel. I want to talk to you. Wake up.
Huh? Who are you? How did you get in here? What do you want?
I am your God. I want to talk to you. Wake up and pay attention.
Oh my God, what is happening to me?
Well, that's a pretty good start. Right away, you look at me and say, oh my God. And you ask me for answers. I should have known that everything I heard about you was just not so. Even though you are a humanist, I haven't lost you. Faced with me, you come around right away.
Now wait one damn minute. I don't believe in you at all. Oh my God, it's just an expression I learned as a child. It slips out when I'm startled, as I am now. That's all. I'm having a nightmare, or I've finally gone around the bend and I've had a rotten hallucination.
Come on now. I haven't hurt you in any way. Why do you say you're having a nightmare?
Well, you come here uninvited. You startle me nearly to death and shout at me, I'm your God. Wake up. You don't look like a god.
Maybe not in this body or in these clothes. But I didn't want to freak you out with my usual appearance. But I am your God.
Oh, I can't believe this is happening, especially to me. This has to be a dream. But as long as I'm dreaming, I've always wanted to have a conversation with a mythical creature. So let's pretend that you are God. Instead of freaking out, I like to see just where this leads.
That's the spirit. I want to ask you some questions too, but first, did you ever think that instead of you're dreaming of me, I'm dreaming of you? Maybe you're having these peculiar visions and thoughts because I'm dreaming of you, and you don't exist outside of my mind. You know, this can break both ways.
You mean my ideas, my memories, and what I feel right now could be you dreaming what I think and feel and remember? Wow! And double wow! You sound insane.
No, you are insane. Just consider the issue. You are dreaming that I am dreaming of your existence. How crazy is that? Where will it end? To put it existentially, as you humanists like, I am becoming, what, more human with every dream? And therefore I'm dying? Or are you becoming more godlike and may dream forever? At any rate, even in your dreams, I'm not some being to be laughed at.
Why not? If you are everything and everywhere, there's a lot to be laughed at in this universe.
Oh, come on now. As a humanist, you must take things seriously, or else you won't accomplish all those good works that you're always harping about. Will you? Life is serious. Come on now.
You're confusing me, and I'm just waking up.
Well, look, I'm sorry, but I am the being that must be listened to. And now you must answer my questions.
Will you stop with that loud voice? You're sitting right next to me, and you don't need to shout. You know, if you don't quiet down, I won't talk to you anymore. Besides, you're not the person who must be listened to. That's my husband.
I'm thousands of times more important than your husband.
You don't know him. Besides, you're a hallucination or a dream, and he's real.
How do you know?
Well, because if I cross him, I really suffer. No loving, no snuggles, and maybe he'll stop paying his share of the bills. If I'm really ornery, maybe I'll get no help when I'm sick. But you, on the other hand, what can you do for me? Well, let's just see. Aha! So kill me. Kill me right now, at this moment. Come on. Do it. Do it. Do it.
No, I'm enjoying this too much. This is one of the few plays in recent centuries in which I have a prominent part.
Just as I suspected. You're incapable, impotent, you've lost it.
Be careful now. I might just reconsider my options. But right now, I'm enjoying the drama.
I don't care. How could I possibly believe in you if you can't perform a simple, right now, immediate miracle? Kill me, get rid of me.
Isn't it kind of stupid of you to ask for a miracle and make the first one your death? How dumb can you get? Besides, I wish I could accommodate you, but my son, Jesus, said I should leave all my sentient beings alone. No more angry rages, no more bringing plagues, killing off whole enemy armies, damning the seed of a man forever.
What? Why?
Well, he feels sorry for all of you thinking species that I've created. And he scolded me, saying I've already done enough damage, especially here on this planet. He says the fundamentalist types that I favor are going to somehow destroy the world. Say, you're pretty bright. Could you somehow gain control over all of those atom and neutron bombs that those faithful Christians and Muslims have tucked away?
No, I know I don't have the power to stop the terrorists. They're all over the place. Even governments fit the bill, including our own US of A. You could start with our CIA and NSA. They are certainly part of the terrorist network. Our CIA thinks that torturing someone for years at a time is just the right thing to do. They believe that to capture a terrorist, you must be a terrorist.
Yeah, I come back to this place every once in a while just to see the drama. It's one of the best planets I've ever made. So much confusion and emotion and action all the time. A continual reality play. It's superbly addictive.
Well, you better stop right there. You're claiming that you have created other worlds and there are sentient beings on these other worlds?
Hey, Missy, there are over 200 billion stars in the galaxy, and I'm still growing more. Planets make that tenfold the stars. I think I have well over 100 million sentient species out there. I keep losing count. I'm beginning to think that maybe consciousness of self is really too broad a category. Anyway, just remember, you're a minor experiment that I often lose track of.
How can you lose track? Aren't you omniscient?
Well, that would mean that I know everything from the past, the present, and the future. In a sense, I do. Or if I concentrate really hard, I can keep it all in my mind. But then I home in on the sparrow and I lose the focus. And could you possibly know what it's like to have millions of sentient species and just about all of the individuals forever wanting something? It's like yammer, 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 yammer from trillions upon trillions of sentient beings. So I can do it, but it's a strain. It's like working 24 times 7 times 12 billion years. I get tired. And you've heard of ambrosia? Well, it's a great drink. I can't resist it. Sometimes I fall asleep and everything goes to pot.
You mean you could be a drunken sot for thousands of years, don't you?
Come on, give a God a break. After all, I reflect your own image. And anyway, I'm duty-bound to admit it. Most sentient beings are boring.
Boring? What are you talking about? Is that a differentiating category for evolutionary study?
You guys are so limited, and you don't even know it. As your God, I don't have to use science to do anything. I create. I'm an artist. And some of the pictures I create I like, and some I don't like, even if they like me. How do I explain it to lowly little you?
Yeah. How does our great and glorious entity explain it to the little people? You've got it tough.
Okay, to be honest, the categories I think about least are like your species of cats and dogs, except a lot more intelligent. The dogs are more like your beagles or bichons. They just love me to pieces, honor me always, and pray forever.
So how have those God-loving sentient dogs fared on their worlds?
Well, it's kind of like living in your Middle Ages. You should see the shrines they built. Magnificent. Some are over 6,000 feet high. Glory be to me.
Well, how long have they been around?
Well, some over 50,000 years.
And prospered?
Not too far. Even though they're at least as bright as you guys, they spend most of their energy worshiping me. But they eat pretty well, and they have a roof over their head. A lot of them roll around in smelly dung, manure. It's like they're so pure, they need an outlet, a countervailing force, if you will. So what's the complaint? It's just that nothing much ever happens on their planets. No great changes, no conflicts, no wars, no great dramas. In other words, kind of blah. I visit and then I leave quickly. I only get to those worlds once in a while, maybe once every 10,000 years. Sometimes I wonder if I'm addicted to wars and conflict. At least something's happening.
So what are the other entities? The cat-like species, I think you called them.
Yeah. Well, the cats, they are loners, except for sex and bringing up young. They have fights, but never in groups. They never prey. Great at creative art, and their dancing is exceptional. They won't attend classes. They learn only from books. They make things primarily for their comfort, like air conditioning. Otherwise, they're pretty lazy. I enjoy their creative products, but again, little drama. They don't care much about me or one another unless they want something. And so arrogant. Can you believe it? Those that believe in me say that a cat invented God to serve them. They see me as a kind of talented magician who was created to entertain cats.
The creation's revenge, eh? Maybe it serves you right. Any other category of beings in your lexicon?
Well, then there are you guys, the intelligent monkeys. Not as obedient or prayerful as the dog-like beings, and not as arrogant and narcissistically loners as the cats, but a mixed breed. You are creative, you work in groups, and you love to fight and argue. Always conflict and drama. Looking, even things like who is better looking or meaner, fights over sex and power, or who has more ability to kill. You are the creatures that I like to visit and watch. What a grand and glorious running play. My son says, I'm giving in, though, to primitive impulses. I should take responsibility for my creation. Just stop watching and at least help you guys prevent another major war. The next one is likely to wipe out the planet. But shit, I don't want to stop the great dramas.
Well, I hope not here. The shit, I mean. I imagine you produce a prodigious amount. Say, how about shitting in one of our big valleys? Maybe in a national park, so the product would belong to all of us. And then add some of those helpful bacterias that change the crap into good agricultural soil. By the way, how much do you produce at one time? 20 tons?
No, it's more like 100,000 tons. But that's only when I show my material side.
That's a lot of shit. It would do it maybe, if you did it maybe 10 times for every 100,000 people, it could help out citizens immensely. Increase agricultural production, reduce poverty.
Well, okay. But only if I can start by dumping on your house.
Oh, no, you always have to play a trick. Maybe make a good thing into a bad.
I just try to equalize things. Think of it. You would die in a pile of dung, but humanity would benefit. Isn't that fulfilling the humanist dream? It will give your whole life worth and meaning.
Well, that's funny. But you love scatological jokes, don't you? Is that your revenge on me?
Huh. You see this as a real bummer, don't you?
I think if this world needed an enema, they'd start by asking you to bend over. And I think they do.
And they say, I've got the mind of a young kid.
Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, God of mine, you were lost and God forever, dreadful sorrow, God divine.
Maybe I will kill and then eat you. They say humanists are best hard-boiled. Look, I'm trying to reason with you. Am I not magnificent and terrifying, but also loving? If you will just be my servant for life, no matter what I do to you, I will give you an eternity of nice things.
Ooh, what nice things?
I don't know, nice things. Why do you always have to question me?
Well, again, what nice things?
Well, you can float around in the ether and hear angels sing, maybe, if they're not trying to get a choir together or off in some universe doing my bidding.
Are you saying my spirit will be filled with heavenly delights?
Whatever gave you that idea? You'll be dead, gone, no body, no needs, no wants. Just ethereal, like nothing, and you can adore me forever.
God, that sounds like the ultimate bondage. A spirit whose only function is to adore this God? I think I'd rather meditate.
But that's just what it will be. You'll meditate forever as a spirit. But about me. Because I insist on being adored.
What happens if every spirit and every thinking creature that dies adores you?
I will be fulfilled. I'll be able to lay down satisfied, kind of like a pregnant cow. You know, with the semen from all the galaxies, like on the 7th day, the 7th month, the 7th year, the 7th century, and 7th on and on and on. I at last be satisfied. So I drink ambrosia, and no one can know the thoughts of a god.
You mean you'll get drunk?
Well, yeah. I can see it now. Ra, ra, sis, boom, ba, I'm your God, Jehovah. Pray to me, I'll save your ma, sister, brother, and maybe your pa. The fundamentalists got it right. Screw the pooch, but pray all night. Don't pray to me, and you'll be damned. forever toasted. And that ain't grand, unless you want infinity. But that's a state only I can see. Pretty good, don't you think? You're bringing out my creative side.
It doesn't sound very spiritual to me. More like a petty human.
Well, of course. After all, I created all of you in my image.
I say it's more like we humans created you in our image.
Whatever.
Well, haven't you heard? At this point in time, there are dozens, hundreds probably, of different superior beings. You've mentioned angels, your son, and I've read in the Old and New Testament of archangels and devils. And then you talked about spirits that worship you. That's a whole pantheon right there. And then what about the old gods like Thor and Odin, Zeus and Aphrodite, and on and on? I'll have to admit, though, I once heard two spirits talking to each other.
Yeah. What did they say?
Well, one spirit said to the other, "Do you believe in people?"
Why are you laughing? At any rate, those other spiritual beings are superseded by me.
Who says so? You?
No. Humanity. It's a rising tide. And the polls show that all people are getting on board. Humans are social creatures. They like hierarchies and they like winners. You've heard of Donald Trump? He's a modern day miracle. Well, I'm a giant, a magnificent Trump. I'm the Trump of all Trumps. So, come on, get aboard for the grand and glorious ride to the future.
But I have heard
You won't
and
make
read
America great again.
that many learned men, Plato, and some of the Gnostics, for example, believe that you are just a demiurge. You created material worlds, but not the ideas. You are really down on the power structure, you know. After all, a God who needs obedience and who punishes not only individual people, but whole tribes for not praying enough. That sounds vengeful, savage, and ultimately primitive to me. You couldn't be a superior being.
What kind of God would be superior, stronger, and more powerful?
Why, a God who was more benign, more loving, more creative, helpful. What do you do? If you exist, you set up conditions for disease, starvation, rape, and murder on an immense scale.
Wait a damn century. That is exactly why I created people like you. The scientists, the unbelievers, and the do-gooders. So you would focus on humanity's ills.
Then why create the religious zealots who are certain they are right and start wars, torture, and kill innocent people? And
Wait a second. For several reasons. Look, I've told you, a God's got to have some kind of fun, some drama to watch, something to break the boredom. After all, most of your species, who can afford it, watch movies and TV dramas of rape and mayhem. And now you have reality TV. I just do the same. Besides, society's problems give meaning to your existence. How do you put it? They validate your beliefs?
Well, if there is any God or gods, I think someone way above your level must exist.
You're dead wrong. It sounds like what you want is some mighty and glorious Boy Scout. You humanists make me sick. Think, lady, think beyond your own petty needs.
So you're saying you're an atheist when it comes to a superior God? I suppose you need absolute proof. Well, let's go about it another way. Who created you? Some natural power or a superior, better God?
I was always, forever me, and I always will be. That's the answer. Boy, you're sly and tricky.
That would be my description of you, too. Sly and tricky, if I believed in you. So wouldn't it be fair if I used the same reasoning? I am the product of the evolution of the universe. I was created over billions of years and inevitable. How glorious to be inevitable. The churning of the universe created me, not you. And as for being in your dream, I think I'd exist whether you believed in me or not. So go away and just dream. I am one of your loyal servants. All issues resolved.
Look, let's just change the subject. Don't you know that conversions are occurring across the universe? The Muslims are now the fastest growing religion in the world. And they believe in me, a single monolithic deity. Belief in a single God is not dead, it's growing.
Well, maybe I could grant you that. But since you are evading going off on a tangent, let me ask you this. If you're not just a false perception, an illusion, then why not perform some credible, multiple miracles and have the whole world see your power? That would make just about everyone believe in you and make us all happy.
Look, I've been humankind's God for over 10,000 years. And now I should make you all happy?
Very funny. But seriously, why not create some clear and unequivocal miracles that are good for mankind and have your angels make themselves known to us all? And explain that you are making a proof of product statement.
Look, I produce miracles every night and day. Every day the sun shines, the clouds come and go, and the good earth has soil for crops and animals. I've kept the planet tolerably warm and humid. What more could you want? I've let you humans dominate a good planet. And all I ask is that a significant number of your species pray and live for my glory.
So, you want to take credit for all the natural cycles of the world and let the achievements from our scientific knowledge become accidents, maybe. We didn't just create a new life form from inorganic matter. Nothing matters. It's a pretty thin argument from my point of view. But tell me, what if enough people don't pray and proclaim you as wondrous and great? What happens then?
I'd rather not say. I don't lie, you know. So let's change the subject.
I still want to know why you can't produce some modern miracles.
Well, because that son of mine, Jesus, made me promise no new miracles. He said we did enough back some 2,000 years ago, and humanity should be satisfied by now.
Well, that sounds like to me an evasion, but okay then. Well, let's do some tests. You probably know the answers to questions from the Old and New Testaments of the Christian Bible, right?
Well, maybe. I haven't studied it in a long time.
Well, let's make it simple. Yes or no answers. The first book of the Christian Bible in the Old Testament is the book of Genesis, right?
Well, of course.
And the seventh commandment that you handed down from Mount Sinai is, thou shalt not admit adultery.
That sounds like something I'd say.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I detect that you're making fun of me. I could figure out exactly how if I focus on it, but I think we both need a break. So go back to sleep. 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 Ambrosia. Wake up again, Rachel. Time for the dream to go on.
Are you still here?
Yes, and I've been contemplating our positions. I've decided that I do not want you or any other humanist to show me honor or prayer. If you do, it could stop the scientific progress. It might even greatly reduce aid to the poor and the suffering. Besides, I started this world, and I know exactly what the future will be like. I created the conditions at the beginning for you and all others like you to become who you are. The interdependence of genetics and physiology and social environments are almost infinitely complex. But I, of course, am omniscient and knew exactly how you would behave all along. I want you to continue trying to save the human races.
Well, let me get this straight. You have engineered me to be a humanist, an unbeliever, so I will go on trying to straighten out the mess you made.
Well, you didn't think that saving humanity was all your idea, did you? Most you humanists don't believe in free will. You think that at some vast, gigantic level, it is all programmed. Well, you're right. But who do you think did the programming?
You mean I have no free will? I must work for humanity's good?
Of course. And with a million like you, just to be on the safe side, the world will change for the better.
What are humanists like?
Well, you're semi-intelligent, but not too bright, or you would have figured me out. But with strong pleasure centers, strong urges to connect, and finally a gargantuan, might I say, perhaps even monstrous need to achieve. Actually, come to think of it, you're one of my failures.
What? Why do you say that? I don't see myself as a failure.
Well, no, you wouldn't. Why do you have so few followers? Your genetic mix is a little bit off.
I know you are not responsible for me. It was the forces of nature. Yes, infinitely complex, but still potentially understandable and predictable.
No, you're wrong again. I began it all and foresaw all the consequences. Between you and all the do-gooders, perhaps you can prevent the destruction of this world and your species. You humans are getting pretty close now to blowing yourself up with those hundreds of atomic and neutron bombs. Or you could just let the whole planet get as hot as hell with global warming.
What do you care? You just want obedient servants and a good drama to watch. Be honest now. Why change your character?
Well, as I see it, you need me to be one of three kinds of gods. One, either I started all the worlds, but don't interfere or seem to care one way or the other what happens. Or two, I am like an evil king, according to your values and how you see things. You see me as just wanting power and enjoying the drama of the little people's conflicts. Or three, I am a lesser being, like number two, but somehow beholden to a still more superior being. Is that right?
Well, that's not far from what I would think, but only if I thought you were something other than a bad dream. I'll tell you what, I'll believe in you, but if, and only if, you complete the following tasks. You must stop all wars and major conflicts, alleviate starvation, and heal the sick and wounded. But of course, allow people to die when their bodily systems would ordinarily break down. Let that happen in a short period of time. That's not a bad bargain if I do say so myself.
That sounds pretty difficult even for a god. Any other requests?
Well, then, how about helping me understand why scientists should believe in you?
Where would I start? Prevent all wars and conflicts? But seriously, if you prayed to me and I stopped wars and conflicts and the rest, I doubt if you would be satisfied for very long.
What are you talking about? Why wouldn't I be satisfied?
Well, I tried it once. For a whole year, the world had good harvests, no wars, and sickness was vastly curtailed. I had to let people die, of course, when their time was up, but death came quick and was pretty painless. And you know what happened? I received an even greater number of supplications. Only then it was for things like preventing a husband from finding out about some sordid affair with a teen in jeans, or helping a guy win at a poker game. What drivel. And I'm asked to do something about that kind of stuff?
I don't think I'd do that. Some people may want those things, but I would be different.
I don't believe you. I've seen it happen too many times. You people will nickel and dime me to sleep. I have to get away from the petty, petty, petty concerns. When there were only a few million sentient beings, it was manageable. Now there are trillions upon trillions of you. Of course, when I just sit back and watch it all, with no impetus to help people out of a jam, then it gets interesting.
Yeah. But if we humans are made in your image, what do you expect? Of course, we have troubles with impulses, don't we?
Look, I'm a god. Trouble for me doesn't exist. I set the rules and I make the values. Don't be a dummy.
Oh, you're name-calling again. I've read that those who believe in you think you have visited a lot, and not just as Jesus. Another indication that you like us the way we are. Let's continue my delusion by asking if acting like a human turns you on.
Actually, I find it quite stimulating to take human form. I like becoming one of the actors. But you know, you've turned the tables on me. Now you're questioning me. You've gotten pretty uppity, haven't you?
Well, for an unbeliever, I think I've been, courteous. And if you exist, you've shown yourself to be essentially an irrational entity. I think I'd better wake up before this becomes a nightmare.
No, stop. Don't do that. I'm enjoying the challenge.
Well, I want to wake up now.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll make many more like you, so you have a better chance at saving the world. What do you say? Just an hour or so more.
But now you're bargaining with me. I'm gaining power and power corrupts. Continue so you could watch the game go on? I think I'd better go.
I don't know how... I should say I don't like how you're acting. No respect. No obedience.
Of course. That's what you get for entering the mind of a humanist.
Of course, I could enter the dream of one of my local faithful and tell them that you are the devil's surrogate. You might just find that life is unpleasant. Is that what you want?
You can't break the cycle, can you? Incorrigible. I was hoping that even in my weirdest dream, you would be more compassionate. But there's one way to stop you. Well, that's it, folks. He doesn't exist. But if he does exist by some far stretch of your imagination, remember, he's an atheist. Doesn't believe in a higher power, doesn't believe in the kind of woman of ideas far above the selfish materialist sitting on a minor throne. You are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorrow.
I could change, produce miracles for the world over, and everybody would fall in line. This whole planet would become more like one of my dog worlds. Obedient, worshipful, and dull. But who wants blah, blah, blah? Timorous, tiresome, tedious. Our humanist is just one of zillions, a very minor goody two-shoes, forgotten in an instant. Not even a mob of trillions could convince me that boring is good. Maybe I can't change her, but that minuscule entity could never affect me. Not in the dream, not in reality. So maybe none of you exist, except in my dream. The debate goes on, doesn't it? Looking for meaning, are you? Maybe now you understand. You're here for my entertainment. That's why I created you. Mixes you up a bit, does it? And now, I'll be visiting your dreams. Maybe not sweet dreams, but very, very interesting. Right.